Hi everyone, welcome back to
Veganlicious.
As you all know, we've been out for a while, but we decided to come back and to share with you some recipes.
Today we will be sharing our brother's cinnamon roll recipe. We hope you like it.
And without further ado, let's get cooking.
Alright everyone, so for our cinnamon rolls, we will need 2 cups of your preferred plant-based milk. We are using almond milk. We're gonna need half a cup of butter, melted butter. We also will need 1/4 a cup of sugar and 1 tablespoon of yeast.
So to start, we're gonna go ahead and mix all the ingredients, but first start with your warm milk. We're gonna go ahead and pour it. You're gonna put your melted butter. The sugar. And our yeast. We're gonna go ahead and mix it very well. And we're also going to be letting this rest for 10 minutes. Okay, so now that our yeast has been resting for 10 minutes and it has been activated, it kind of looks like foam. Now we're gonna go ahead and continue with our recipe.
So we will be incorporating 5 cups of flour, but we will be doing 1 cup at a time.
So as you're adding the last couple of cups of flour, it's gonna get a little harder to move, so feel free to use your hands if you want to. So for our cinnamon rolls, we don't want to knead just yet. We just want to make sure that we incorporate everything. Now we're going to be making our dough into a ball, and this dough is going to be resting for an hour. And let it rest for an hour. So now it's been an hour and this is our dough. It's actually very big now and fluffy. We're actually going to knead it. So we're gonna need some extra flour and make sure that your surface is very clean. We're gonna go ahead and So now we're gonna knead it. Make sure you use your 2 hands. Knead it. Take out your stress here. So you wanna go ahead and knead the dough for about 2 to 5 minutes, depending on how you feel it. The dough feels really nice right now, so it's like super soft and fluffy. So you just wanna go ahead and knead it until you feel like it's perfectly. Gonna do our cinnamon rolls smaller. But if you want to make your cinnamon rolls bigger, you can use the entire dough. We're actually going to. So we're actually going to be making our dough into a ball, 2 separate balls. If you want to do one, then just make one big ball. We're actually going to let it rest for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're gonna go ahead and get started. So while we wait and let our dough rest, we're going to be working on the cinnamon and sugar paste. There's another way you can do it if you melt the butter and you just put toppings on top, but we're going to be making the paste. What we need is half a cup of butter. So
yeah, just make sure the butter is soft, and we will need half a cup of brown sugar, 1/4 of regular sugar, and 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix all these ingredients well.
we're gonna mix it together and start forming that paste. So this is what our paste looks like. We're just going to go ahead and set it aside. So now our dough looks great. We're going to be making our dough into a rectangle. My sister's going to be using a ruler. I'm going to be using my hands. Then you can use your hands, I think. Well, you want to go ahead and put some flour around just so it doesn't get sticky. And like I said, you need to make a rectangle. So as you can see, when we are making our dough a little flat, it gets a little sticky at the top. You can go ahead and add a little bit of flour at the top just so that's not that sticky. You want to make sure that it looks kind of like a rectangle, just because when you're going to roll it, we don't want it to look uneven. We want to make sure that you keep about 1/2 inch away from all the sides. So make sure that the paste is not on the edge. The edge, yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and put our paste. So we have our dough ready with our paste. We're gonna go ahead and start rolling. It's better to roll from the left to the right. Just make sure that everything's very tight.
Making sure that we're rolling upwards.
Some people like to cut the strips and already roll them. I think this is a little bit easier, just to roll the whole thing, and then we'll show you how to cut them. So once you're at the end and you see that little edge, what we want to do is we want to go ahead and get the paste a little out, just so that it sticks. And what we want to do is we want to end on top of that, the last thing. So the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to roll it on top of it. So now we're going to be cutting our rolls. What we're going to be using is a thread, but you can use a knife. It's just easier to use a thread because the knife gets a little sticky. So what we want to do is get the thread, cut it, and put a little bit of flour around it just so it doesn't get stuck. And what we want to do is go ahead and put it through.
And then at about 1.5 inches, but it depends. If you want them a little bit thicker, you can do more. But we're gonna do 1.5 inches. We're just gonna cross the thread and pull. Here's our roll, and then we're just gonna.
Here's a pretty roll. We want to make sure that each roll is about 1/2 inch to 1 inch away from each other, just because they're going to get bigger. Now we're going to be letting them rest for about an hour, 2 hours. So now that we waited an hour, these are what our cinnamon rolls look like. We already preheated our oven to 350, and then we're gonna go ahead and place them in for 25 to 30 minutes.
All right, so while our cinnamon rolls are baking, we're going to share with you this simple glazed recipe.
What we need is 3 tablespoons of cream cheese. We are also using 1/2 cup of powdered sugar and 1 tablespoon of milk. You can omit the cream cheese if you don't want it, but we think it tastes better if you use it. It just needs to be very softened. And we're gonna go ahead and get started with the cream cheese and then the sugar. This is what it looks like. Just make sure that everything is mixed well, so that like if you have any lumps or anything, make sure you keep mixing until it looks great. So this is how our cinnamon rolls look. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be glazing and putting the glaze on top of it. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you are going to be making these cinnamon rolls, we would just want to let you know that to be patient, because this is a time-consuming recipe, but it comes out delicious. It comes out very well, as you can see. We're going to go ahead and try them, and thank you so much. Like and subscribe.